Any additional comments? I have a few. I was told that Mr. Green, who apparently you spoke to, because you were speaking for him earlier, Ms. Torbert, was going to be here tonight, and he's not, and so I'm going to speak to Mr. Donald Green. I have some questions for him. Most of them are rhetorical, so I don't think it'll be too difficult to go through it. But apparently, Donald Green, who has his 93rd birthday this next month, September, did pen a letter dated June 25th, 2011, or what I'm told he wrote a letter that was submitted to us as board members, or mailed to us, indicating certain thoughts he had about his great-grandfather, Hartwell Green. And Hartwell Green, apparently, owned the land in the 1850s where the original Green School, which was located on the corner of Green and I think Savoy Roads, which is appropriately, and to this very day, off of Green Road, was instrumental in development in the area. And then in 1948, the 4-classroom building on Walnut Lake Road that was previously named the District Media Center, which was appropriately renamed the Green Media Center, was constructed and operated till 1958. Then it became known as Little Green when Green School currently is in its current location, became functional, and over the years has had subsequent additions and renovations. So Mr. Donald Green speaks mostly in his letter of his great-grandfather Hartwell Green with respect to that time period. And if Mr. Green was here today, I would ask him, first of all, when he wrote that letter, if he was aware that this board determined that in order to preserve the history, that the original 4-room schoolhouse that served 70 students, where it sits in the same location on this very day, be renamed the Green Media Center in honor and recognition of Hartwell Green, Hartwell Green's father, Mr. Arnett, who settled in 1824, and the lineage. And then I would ask him to tell me about Hartwell Green. And I assume he would say he was an intelligent man, he was a caring person. I was going to ask him, well, was Hartwell like Donald Trump? Did he want his name on every building that you can imagine? And he would say absolutely not. He wouldn't. He would not do that. He wasn't like that. He valued, I said, do you think he valued education? He would say yes. And I would say, do you think that he valued those that had the most impact on the instructors and the students and the teachers? And he would say, of course. And then in Mr. Green, Donald Green's letter, he talked about a special teacher. I think her name was Catherine Lawless. He spoke about how she stoked the fire in the morning for the children, taught him the basic 3 R's. He spoke about a year-end picnic and how that one teacher impacted his life in that 4-room school of 70 students. And then I was going to ask him, Mr. Green, when you learned about Green being renamed, did you find out about Miss Chico before you wrote your letter? And this I don't know what his answer will be. But I would have asked him, did you know that Miss Chico, unlike Miss Lawless, was a principal, not a teacher, but a principal for the same building for 26 years? I would ask Mr. Green, do you know during those years Miss Chico worked with 1,690 staff members? I'll wait till you're done. I would ask Mr. Green, did you know that Ms. Chico, with those 1,690 staff members, many and most, if not all of which she mentored and nurtured and developed into first-class educators, I would ask him if he was aware of that at the time that he penned his letter. I would ask Mr. Donald Green, did you know that Ms. Chico had 13,780 students walk through her doors? And I would ask Donald, do you know of those 13,780 students, she knew every child's name, sibling, family members, likes, dislikes, strengths, weaknesses, how to motivate them? I would ask Mr. Green if he was aware of that on June 25th. I would say, do you know that Ms. Chico was not only recognized by those who she dealt with on a daily basis, but had national recognition across the country, the state, winning multiple awards for her services? I would ask Mr. Green, did you know that Ms. Chico, if she had a student in her building that did not show up to school on a repeated basis, that she would go to his house, she would knock on his bedroom door, and she would tell the young man or young woman that the school is ready for him or her. And that solved a truancy problem. I would say to Mr. Green, were you aware that this past school year, Ms. Chico arranged to have the mayor of Detroit speak and visit her school and developed an entire themed program to connect the West Bloomfield students in her building with the city of Detroit. Each student rode the People Mover, went to museums downtown. They had their own parade. They made their own Werners and Saunders and Rensen. And then they had Coney dogs. And this didn't happen once. This happened every season, 75 in all. I would ask Mr. Green, I would say, did you hear about Ms. Chico's Coming to America, where she had her students actually go through the immigration process at Ellis Island? And somehow, and only Ms. Chico could do this, she got a Michigan Supreme Court justice to swear these students in. And I would say to Mr. Donald Green, what do you think your great-grandfather, Hartwell Green, would think of Ms. Chico? I would ask him and say, do you think that your great-grandfather would stand here today and demand that we rescind what we have done? Is that what he would do? Do you know that there is no plaque, there's no monument or history on Green School, former Green School's property today, indicating anything about Hartwell Green, Donald Green, William Arnett? That's how this history can be preserved. It's not the name on the door. So we can put a plaque up so when every single person, student, parent walks through those doors, they could read about the history. They could then understand maybe that's why it's named Green Road. Because that, I believe, is something that is much more important that Hartwell Green would want. And if Donald Green said that he was concerned about preserving the memories, and I don't think that Hartwell or his father would be so concerned about preserving the name on that building when he would have an opportunity, and if he had an opportunity, to meet and understand Ms. Chico. And for that reason, I am not going to support this motion, and I'm going to call for a vote on the motion that was made by Mr. Chase and that was seconded by Ms. Torbert. All those in favor, vote aye.
In favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye. All those in favor say nay. Nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions? The motion fails.
Boy, David, I think this is so condescending, that statement that you just made.
Matt, you do not have the floor.
May I have the floor, Mr. Einstandig?
Sure.
David, I think that statement was very condescending. You spent more time on writing your response to a letter than you spent considering the legal issues associated with this and preparing information for us to make the original decision. Just based on your comments, you want to ask questions of the public, and now you're saying that was just, it was either condescending that you didn't really want the answers to that, or that you really want the answers, and that we should be opening up those things to the public on responding to the questions you
If
just
you were
raised.
listening, I said they were rhetorical questions, but you only hear what you want to hear,
Jeez.
okay?
Okay.
But
Motion carries 5-2. Motion does not carry 5-2. We voted. Motion fails 5-2.
And you could have asked Mr. Green those questions had you cared enough about the history before we
Ms. Torbert, you don't have the floor. We're done on comment.
circumvented the
Torbert.
process.
Ms. Torbert, you had ample opportunity to say everything you wanted. Are you done?
Yes.
Thank you.